모닝 파워! 모닝 터보!
If you guys came to watch some fantastic StarCraft, you were in the right place. We're about to jump into our best matchup of the night. It's going to be INnoVation, currently in second place, up against ByuL, currently in first place here at SSL Premier.
And, you know, it would seem surprising that ByuL actually has the overall better record, but a lot of that's from when they faced each other when INnoVation on STX was making the transition to StarCraft 2. An STX pro player who, like Rain and Soki, really had the best parts of his career at the end of Brood War. And in Legacy of the Void, though, they're 3-3. They're dead even, so someone's going to come on top today. And then Stats, defending GSL champion against Alive, Super Tournament finalist, who also got out of his GSL group in the same matchup against Creator, facing off against each other. Stats having the better record in Legacy so far, but Alive looks to be really good. But will his TVP be an Achilles heel? It's a little bit worrisome. He didn't actually play the series against Patience because he gave the def loss there, so we don't know exactly how in form he will look. And Maru versus Zest. Zest with the massive lead in Legacy of the Void, but it would be crazy with how weak Zest looks right now for Maru not to take this series. This is all the way at the bottom of the bracket, or at the bottom of the standings. He was crushed and defeated by Creator in the GSL Codes. If you guys watch those games, he looked insanely weak. It was not even close. So I feel like Maru is the better player. He started off a little bit weak in the SSL, but he's rising up very quickly. This should make for a great series. Nonetheless, though, the rivalry there and Zest just having such a massive lead. The KT versus Jin Ace matches they've played. There's so many.
Well, here we go. Let's introduce our players. INnoVation. He is 10-5 so far in terms of map wins, and I think he's sitting at 4-2. Let me actually check that for you guys. Yeah, he is 4-2 currently in set wins. So definitely up there towards the top. Does have a bunch of achievements too. And this guy, definitely one of the stronger Terrans currently in Korea. Definitely one of the better players here in SSL Premier, looking to get into playoffs, potentially with the win tonight.
Here is ByuL all the way at the top, killing it right now, 10-3. Just looks strong in every matchup. He's terrifying. One of the strong Zerg players coming into this tournament, but no one would really be able to predict that he would look this dominant, just kind of crushing everybody, including Solar, which is why he's so massively ahead up in first place. And why Solar wants to get revenge and tell him this is his league. It'd be interesting if we had another ZVZ final for Solar. It's so far away now, we're not even in playoffs yet, but it would be a cool story.
Could happen.
Could happen.
I think there's definitely a high chance. And yeah, I mean, ByuL is just so solid. Super, super solid macro Zerg nowadays. He's not too cheesy, and he's good in every matchup, as you said. And that's what it takes to be really good in this kind of round-robin format that we have at SSL Premier.
Our maps will be Overgrowth, Abyssal Reef, and Whirlwind. So a 4-player map will sneak into the pool for this best of 3. We'll see if we go to game number 3 and get there as we start INnoVation versus ByuL.
INnoVation, 이신형, ByuL, 한지원.
Fly better fly. Jin Air. No Jin Air players in this series. We'll have one more later on tonight. Down on the bottom left, it is INnoVation, the blue Terran.
And up to the top right in purple, it is ByuL. When you compare these two in terms of their histories, their backgrounds, in individual leagues, you know, ByuL has actually had some really nice tears. He's had multiple round of 4 finishes. He was a GSL and SSL finalist, both in the same time period. He lost both, sadly. 1 to Hero, 1 to Rain. And INnoVation has a lot more titles, you know. He's the more accomplished player. He won IEM Gyeonggi recently, did decently at the World Championship, and In terms of Pro League, INnoVation was on the team of All-Stars, whereas ByuL had to help carry the team along with Hero for CJ Entis. The difference between SK Telecom and CJ Entis at the end of Pro League, the gap was massive. It was Grand Canyon. And, you know, it's time for ByuL to show his stuff. If he wins this series, it's going to feel incredible because now he doesn't have a team. He's teamless. He's on LFT. And he's just looking to prove himself as a star player, even without the backing of CJ Entis and the practice partner they had in Hero. For him to beat such a star and such an accomplished player that he probably always looked up to, always trying to be as good as INnoVation, would just further his #1 spot in this tournament going into playoffs.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how ByuL is going to do against Stats next week too, actually, because he destroyed Zest and SOS so far, and those are, well, that guy actually loves Kanata, but those are two of the weaker Protosses that we have, but you have to imagine that him and Hero are still playing a lot, and with Hero and his success that he's had so far, the undefeated player in terms of sets over at SSL Challenge, I'm sure those guys are going head-to-head lots of times in ZVP. Definitely,
the relationship there is important. And a lot of the SKT players that INnoVation used to play with have moved on or retired. Only Rain and Sulky moving back into Broodlore. Back into this game, and not my nostalgia rants. INnoVation will find this drone and delay the third base, hits it, knocks it away, wants to deny this gas.
Oh, he does!
Nice block there.
Super cool.
It's actually something that was added in Heart of the Swarm, the gas block like that, and Blizzard never confirmed, as far as I know, whether it was intentional or not, but it was something a lot of people were frustrated at first, but it adds a lot of extra depth to the game. It makes it tougher to gas steal, and you can do moves like this to deny the drone from extractor canceling to survive, so...
I would assume it was intentional. I don't think you just accidentally code that into the game.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty cool, though. I like it. I'm a big fan, personally.
ByuL wants to strike back. Both of these guys just going to lose one worker each. But more importantly, that third base delayed for quite a bit on the side of ByuL. As you could see that he had to wait to get some units, some queens out first before he was confident enough to send the drone over to the third base.
Yeah, they're accompanying it, escorting the drone. A little bit of Ling harass over here, but obviously not really finding too much. Not the end of the world for ByuL, as he didn't commit too many Lings. Just about like 8 or so, and you're going to see this transition now for INnoVation into the medevac with stem timing. The 2 medevacs come out, and you know, he's going to make the transition, look to do some damage with that, deny some creep. He's already off to a good start with that hatch delay.
Yeah, and I think he played against Solar on this map too. He did eventually lose to Solar 1-2, but I think he took the first win on Overgrowth. Not 100% sure about that, but I get the feeling that INnoVation likes this build a lot on this map. ByuL running into those Marines actually is really good because he sees the amount of Marines that are shooting from the top, and he's like, okay, you're going for this build. The only reason he would have that many Marines at this time is if he were going for that build. So he starts +1 Carapace, begins to add more Lings, more Queens. Just going to try to defend here with Ling Queen.
The Carapace is going to help the Banelings survive later on. It's going to help the Queens, the tankiness. Obviously, it's not going to be ready for this initial attack, but it's going to be very useful in the composition. INnoVation with the same double E-bays that you come to expect from him in this matchup, as well as others. He's actually making it part of his wall. He's kind of been doing this every time. A little bit strange of a Ling attack there. But he sees the move out now. He already has his Queens in position. This is so classic INnoVation. This timing is so crisp. Going to use this medevac for high ground vision to eliminate the Overlord, and now looking to target down Queens, looking for the highest energy Queens if possible. Prevent transfuses. And then that's on the way now.
INnoVation is going to start a safe third CC up on the high ground. Not going to risk taking it at the low ground because one simple run by on a short map like Overgrowth could mean the end for that third base and would significantly delay it. So like the safety out of INnoVation to make that in his main. And looking to drop into ByuL's main.
One of the reasons why this tactic is so strong is because you can do moves like this. It's actually just going to elevate her out. But you force all the Queens to be at the third base location, then you kind of craftily move over to the right side with your medevacs. Good reaction here by INnoVation. Not going to lose either of these medevacs. In fact, going to get on the watchtower. If the Queen stepped any farther, they would definitely farther forward. They would have lost one for sure. So, Buzz 1-1 is done. Combat shield's ready for the next attack with 4 medevacs.
This is the scary follow-up. And keep in mind that INnoVation has lost nothing. I don't think he's even lost a single Marine.
Yeah.
If he has, I think it's just 1. It's basically just health on that 1 medevac. And once the other Marines make it over, look at this. He's just trading really well while the Queens are not there. And he has the follow-up with this other big ball of Marines coming over with all the upgrades you were talking about. ByuL, he's got to be a bit careful.
Yeah, he doesn't have Banes. He's making 2 now.
He has 9.
Okay, no, he has 9.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, that's why we have an observer PC. So he's making it 2 more, so he's going to have 11 in total. And in terms of timings, in terms of crispness, I mean, nobody hits this crisper than INnoVation. He's just so good at this. I would argue even better than ByuL. ByuL maybe have the better control on targeting Banelings down, but INnoVation, INnoVation's going to hit this, force the cancel. But INnoVation is basically a speedrunner for aggressive builds. He hits this so quickly. The timing was perfect with the 1-1 to finish. The 4 medevacs here, like you said, he's losing like 2 Marines there. And forces the cancel on this base, starts 2-2 immediately with the armory finishing, has a 3rd CC already landed, and he's going to send SCVs over there, drops the mules. This is exactly what INnoVation wants to do. INnoVation's only weakness, it feels, as a Terran player in the early to mid-game is when his build gets messed up by some sort of timing attack, or if he ends up getting extra scouting against him.
Yeah.
But when it goes well like this, you can see he just has the perfect follow-up. He's just following step by step exactly how he knows this build, the speed run of taking the early game lead.
I would definitely agree with you. I think that INnoVation is super crisp, but I like the fact also that ByuL has played this very safe because his mid-late game is so strong and he's so solid. He goes for moves like this also. He's recently added this into his play. It's part of the reason why he gets such successful games. Already 7 SCV kills, and he's delayed so much mining over there. Look at that, that's gigantic!
The Widowmine drag into the SCV line. 14 SCVs are killed, the mules as well. Huge drag. We do not really see this in StarCraft 2. It's a really big tactic in Brood War to drag spider mines like that into the Terran army.
I think he got 2 mules too.
Yeah.
1 or 2, and he's not done yet. He wants more damage here. Okay. It's just 1 more SCV.
He has spent a lot of resources to do this though, and now INnoVation has a strong push coming towards his base. 2-2 is not completed yet, but he needs to find something now, or this could be the wrench in the gears of the machine that is INnoVation. A good split here against the Banes, and oh, that Widowmine hit what it wanted. Click it, Observer, I want to know. Click it, Brendan, then, I want to know.
I'm going to click it, 23 kills.
23 kills on the Widowmine in 1 shot, including some Banelings there.
He's really just trying to get those shots on the Terran army, but he actually miscontrolled that one time, so a really strong push here from INnoVation. It's going to be quite hard to hold this off. There are a bunch of mutas out on the map. I think they're going for the natural currently, so yes. ByuL committing heavily to counterattack tactics, and here he goes.
And with a build as tight as this one, there's no room for turrets. There's no room to add those, you know, not expensive, but these extra costs to have static defense at home, so he's going to have to evacuate SCVs, but the mutas are not going to force this army home. Just rally units will deal with this. And he's just pushing this further and further in. More Banelings warping. He's about to have 27. That's going to be his timing to engage once he's finished.
Oh, no! Micro there! That was like half of his Marines!
Looks like he was microing his SCVs back at his 3rd base against the mutas. But still, this army continues to push. It's just not as strong as it used to be. It's mostly medevacs.
Oh, the reburrow, but it just doesn't matter. Because he didn't micro those Marines, he lost way too many, and he wasn't able to split or do anything else. So many Widowmines went down, and he still hasn't dealt with these mutas. ByuL with such safe play, holding on for so long in this game. He has actually outsmarted INnoVation in total with a bunch of these backwards tactics, these counterattacks, I should say. And he's getting so much damage from just these mutas. Already 18 SCVs more have gone down.
Still no turret in the natural. He's going to get more on the way out. 24. INnoVation is now really hurting the economy. I think he's got a small window of time where he has to end this game. He has a ton of medevacs, and he has a large amount of Marines, so if he could take a better microed fight than the last one and split against the Banelings, he could maybe find that extra damage, but well, oftentimes in this matchup, it's about killing the 4th base as the Terran, and now ByuL even has a 5th. He has 33 Banelings already remade, and ByuL to continue to harass. If this goes poorly, it's going to get even worse, as INnoVation's main is still exposed. Mutas could also be helpful on the defense. Looks like that's how he wants to use them for now. INnoVation just Walking on creep now, needs a scan with his already hurt economy. It's expensive.
It's going to be hard to engage into this for ByuL. A really fantastic split here on all the Widow Mines. Always re-burrowing them, making sure that he's going to get the best shots, the money shots.
ByuL just wants to make sure he has the massive amount of banelings, the maximum amount of banelings they can get.
Big counterattack once again from ByuL. May have to give up his 4th base though.
Yeah, it looks like he basically sent everything he had in this army over here to INnoVation's base. He's not going to be able to break through the natural, but he's going to hit the 3rd, and we'll be able to kill it with the mutas. The Widow Mine's not burrowed in time.
And he killed 3 of them with the banelings that rolled by. So that's a really big hit to INnoVation's AoE, and now he's going to lose an orbital. He's going to be stuck on 2 bases.
He basically has to end the game with the army he has. Plus 3/3 is on the way. It's halfway done. If he can fight then, he can stabilize and try to max out on the 2 bases that he has active. But if he loses this army, he can't rebuild it without the economy. The main base is mined out. He's kind of basically on 1 mining base.
ByuL checks the other 3rd base location, and he's like, oh, you're on 2 base.
Yeah, you don't even have another base.
All he's got to do is group up and kill that army, but it looks like he still wants to counterattack. Maybe he wants to make sure those units are back at the base of INnoVation.
INnoVation has the larger army. He's got really good upgrades, so it's hard to fight it straight up. What ByuL wants to do is harass to try to buy time, maybe force INnoVation to turn around so he can get more Banes out, get his 2/2 upgrades up. He's actually long distance mining from this base, so this game is kind of wonky right now, looking to even perhaps harass those eBays. If he can live longer with his better economy, get closer to max, then he can win this game. And INnoVation isn't attacking him now, which is a big boon for ByuL, who's rebuilding that 4th base. It's nearly done.
Every second that goes by, but at the same time, you know, ByuL's getting a bigger army, but as you mentioned before, the upgrades. INnoVation's about to hit 3/3, and you can have a bigger army but still lose because you just don't have the upgrades. So ByuL definitely has to be careful on that attack.
Oh!
Needs the banelings. These Marines, actually, and the entire army of INnoVation comes back to deal with this.
Yeah, and now he's killed quite a few of those Marines, or excuse me, the Mutas have killed the Marines have killed a Muta. I need more coffee, Val. This is falling apart here. He's killed a few of the Mutas with the Marines, a few of the Lings, and now he has 3/3 completed. This is the window he wants. This is where he wants to smash ByuL. He's moved his main base over to the 3rd as well, so he has an economy to continue streaming out Marines. Really wants to hit this right now. It's going to be all about the micro. There's so many banelings, 39 of them, 22 mutas. The splits are going to have to be perfect. They're going to have to be immaculate. So much harass here. ByuL is just he's outmaneuvering him.
Yeah, and you said this in the beginning of the game. When INnoVation's plan goes wrong, he kind of gets caught in the middle of the map. And he's famous for doing this on Overgrowth too, where he goes in circles, right? He wants to go attack, but then just 8 Lings brings him all the way back to his 3rd to defend with his entire army. So now he's giving ByuL a lot of time. ByuL has 2/2, so he's only 1 set of upgrades behind now instead of 2.
Good Widow Mine setup here. 1 does go down with a few Marines. The counterattack continues.
Cutting off reinforcements.
Look at this pre-split here from INnoVation with a small group of units. Now coming in here, wants to move those Widow Mines ever so close.
So many banelings. There's barely any Lings in that composition.
Yeah.
It's just all green right now.
I don't even see any Lings in that. There's a few coming from the right side now. The main. Oh, that was the Widow Mine hit he needed. Is he going to commit now? He continues to scan. He's eliminated all the creep. He's going to lose mining at this base. The SCVs might clean that up, but...
Once again, look at this. The Lings, they go for the counterattack, and the entire army goes back.
INnoVation now has the smaller army. He needs to kill ByuL. He needs to kill him, or at least kill one of his bases. The base that's the south of the main base, perhaps. The one that's not really super connected by creep. Maybe that's where he could strike.
Oh, the burrow. I think he saw that,
He saw that. That's actually huge for INnoVation to catch these for free, basically. He doesn't get all of them, but several. He needs to win this right now.
Because, you know, if he hits that, it's really big. He's got another one over here on the right that's super close.
I think that this is not even really to try to, you know, detonate. I think he actually wants to flank with those. Once the army engages, I think he's just going to unburrow them.
I think you might be right.
Look at this.
Oh, he does unburrow a bunch of them.
Okay, can actually flank with those. Doesn't need to necessarily. This is just way too much. INnoVation is out of steam, and ByuL is going to win game number 1. GG.
GG in caps. ByuL just outmaneuvering and outplaying entirely INnoVation on that map. As this guy looks to really secure that first place spot, he is just so solid.
He had so many Queens to deal with the first push. His defense was solid. He had the quick reaction to go deal with the drop that came to the main base after INnoVation was shut down there. He knows, he did his research, how INnoVation plays this matchup, plays the map specifically, had the answers there, then went into the harass because he knows, as we know, as everybody knows, INnoVation is at his weakest when he can't hit those timings perfectly. You know, I keep making the joke that he's a speedrunner, but if he were really a speedrunner, he probably would have hit the reset button after that second push didn't work out the way he had planned. He's really lucky that Widowmine hit a bajillion, billion, gajillion, quadrillion links there, 23. After he lost all of his SEs.
He said in the lobby, and so, yeah, of course, it's really OP. I'm not sure exactly what he was referring to, but not happy with Zerg at the moment is INnoVation, it seems. Maybe just a bit of joking there from our Terran player. But guys, we're going to be jumping into set number 2, game number 2, right now. Go on to map number 2. Down here in the bottom right, the blue Terran, it's INnoVation.
Up to the top left in purple, our Zerg player ByuL. Up 1 game in the best of 3, still currently in first place. A win here would secure him a playoff spot.
Yeah, and ByuL, you know, we used to talk about this player in the past, how just solid he was. You know, I've said it a lot today, even just how solid he is, almost overusing that word, but I feel like he's almost reached a new tier, and he's joined a lot of those other Zergs in Korea that when they found success, it's off the back of not just solid macro play, but finding the timings to counterattack. And we saw this so much out of the big name Zergs, right? Life in his prime, Su. Even he used to be super aggressive, all the counterattacks. And now ByuL, too, is really just working that into that play. And that was the one piece that was missing. He also always used to be very defensive. He would hold off pushes very well, but he would always sometimes get caught off guard by them as well. So now that he's actually mixing in this new kind of piece to the puzzle of his play, he is just so much better, and it shows in his games. He's only lost 1 series, and that was actually to Patience. He got 0-2'd by Patience, actually, which was kind of a big surprise. But outside of that, he hasn't lost any of his series, and only 1 other game against Zest.
Talk about Zerg eras. Talk about Life, Su, these other big Zergs, July Zerg in Brood War, first Zerg OSL champion. And they all have this legacy. Even Su, who doesn't have a major title, won a Kespa Cup, and also has been to several finals. That's what he's so famous for. Getting to a finals is just 1 step below winning it. And so he's really known for that. ByuL has an SSL finalist position. He was an SSL finalist. He was a GSL finalist at the same time. But even though we said carried CJ in Pro League, he was still kind of the shadow of Hero by comparison. He doesn't have a legacy. I think that in Legacy of the Void, no pun intended, he's looking to build that. And in SSL specifically, he is killing it. In GSL, he looks really strong. And maybe this is finally his time. It'll take a year before he ever is respected the same way that Su, Life, July Zerg, these other Zergs we talk about are respected, even Sulky. So they had an era, but he's getting very close.
Yeah, and I feel almost even about this format for SSL Premier that the competition is even greater, right? Because it's not like you can just win 1 group and get out in second and then face off against someone else who's like kind of mediocre, and then all of a sudden you're round of 8. You know, in the normal format in GSL. This is like every day you got to show up. Every day it's 1 best of 3, and you can prepare for that. You have a lot of time, a full week to prepare for that 1 best of 3, but you got to do it every single week. And ByuL, he's been so consistent, great in every matchup. It seems like so far versus Protoss is the one where he's having the most trouble because he's 2-0'd everybody else that he's played against in every other matchup here in SSL Premier, including guys like Dark, like Solar, like Alive. And now he's looking to do it here against INnoVation. He was really solid in that game 1. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a 2-0 score here at the end of this one.
Absolutely possible. Let's talk about the variation in build for INnoVation, because he's gone into 4 Hellions. Nice snipe on the Mule with that aggression that we were just talking about. Goes into 4 Hellions because of the larger map. Is that an armory? It is. He's going for a Hellbat build.
I think hold on, let me... Okay, so he didn't see the armory
No,
just yet.
he was added it after the Lings were cleared up. He adds a Roach Warren anyways.
Yeah, and he's making a bunch of links. So I think he sees the Hellions, and maybe he's just read INnoVation at this point.
Well, the scout in the main base now kind of tells the story, right? He's going to see, okay, you're going into more reactored Hellions. You're continuing to produce them. Doesn't see the armory, but he doesn't need to see the armory to know where this game is going. Even if, for some strange reason, INnoVation was doing a weird mech build instead of going for Hellbat timing, he would still need the Roach Warren, so that scout of the main base is so critical right now for ByuL, as we're going to see some auto turret harass here at the natural. But the Hellbats are going to be ready. He's going to have the attack. He starts Stim as he knows this is not going to end the game, but he wants to have this as a big, big starting point to get massively ahead with this timing attack. Again, he's basically speed running it, as he always does. Queen's in position here. Transfusion's coming down. 5 Roaches are about to pop out. The auto turret harass at the same time is really annoying for ByuL to deal with.
ByuL really trying to buy as much time as possible. He wants those Roaches to pop out and fight with all of them, trying to spread those units. And it doesn't look like that's enough. Hellbats and actually the Lings coming from the low ground.
This is next level.
That's going to be so sick. He takes out everything.
ByuL is massively ahead now. Lost a decent amount of mining time with that because he panic pulled his drones against the auto turret harass. The Raven is still out there, but he's just in a great position to just drone up now on 3 bases. INnoVation doesn't have any bio to threaten, so it looks like right now, like, oh, okay, ByuL's massively ahead in army, or sorry, in army supply as well as drones. He's just up in supply, and the reason is because INnoVation lost his entire army. But now the scarier part than just how ahead he is in terms of supply is that he can counterattack. There's no army here for INnoVation. INnoVation can never attack him.
The bunker doesn't finish. Finally, it's going to finish.
CC gets delayed here.
Yeah, he's going to lose all 5 of his Roaches to do this, but it's not the worst trade in the world. You're really cutting down on the Terran's army.
Exactly.
And you can always replace those Roaches with something else. You can see that he's going for melee upgrades now, so he might just go straight into Ling Bane once again.
This army is non-existent for INnoVation, so ByuL could now spread massive amounts of creep. He could take a 4th base soon. He's just going to have an incredible economy. Always the scary thing for Zerg is, how am I going to hold my 4th base? How am I going to keep my economy up against such hyper-aggression that comes out from the Terran with the bio? With no bio on the map for INnoVation, ByuL can do whatever he wants. He's just continuing to drone. Right now, he's getting his upgrades, as you mentioned. The layer's coming up. Can get a late Baneling nest, as you can see here. He's starting it now. We'll be able to get Baneling speed right away afterwards. INnoVation did get that quick stim, which is super important because he has a large amount of barracks infrastructure now, so he will have very soon a large army to pressure. But during this window of time, ByuL feels great, and is not even going to shake a stick at this auto turret, man. He's fine.
Yep, no sticks shaking.
No sticks shaking at that auto turret.
Yep.
Just going to clean it up with Zerglings.
Yeah, really good defense so far from the Ravens. I feel like INnoVation could be taking some better angles, you know, like he had in the beginning with the first auto turret, I think was pretty good. But now I think he's just taking some more aggressive angles in, and ByuL having his units in position. And starts a pretty, safe defensive timing on that 4th base. Doesn't rush it out. He goes for the macro hatch first. Because, with that hatch on the low grounds, a follow-up push here from INnoVation is definitely a bit scary, so he just wants to play it safe with the lead that he already has.
He needs to buy time with these Queens for the Banelings to finish, though. Here come the Lings from behind. There are 2 Widow Mines here, though. Good splits by ByuL, actually, but still, this is a pretty efficient trade for INnoVation with his first group of units. He's going to have combat shields in 1-1 here in just a moment. ByuL will have his 1-1 as well, though. So we talked about to get those melee upgrades very soon.
Good timing there from INnoVation. Like that attack. And ByuL, it was right at that moment, as you were saying, where he just didn't have the Banelings in position. The Lings were trying to go first around, but the setup on the Widow Mines were really good too. Looks like he might just eat these with the Queens. Looks like.
Yeah, he could transfuse those, but it's still kind of annoying. He might not have even noticed they were still there.
Look at the bank right now for ByuL. That Spire's about to finish, and he's going to pump out, looks like 11 Budas right away. That's a really scary number to just get right in an instant.
And INnoVation doesn't know about this. He actually scans right now, and he doesn't see the Spire. He doesn't actually get any idea of what's happening. Widow Mine here actually going to kill the majority of the Marines for INnoVation. INnoVation has this massive army lead again. ByuL is not making the mutas, by the way. It's almost as if he can't decide if he wants to make them right away or not.
Okay, there he goes. It looks like he was just looking elsewhere. Gets the +1 attack for his... Okay, this is going to be a lot of damage with those auto turrets. Going to be 6, 7, 8 drones.
I feel like ByuL was like do I have enough space to make these, or am I just going to die if I commit all my gas to this? And the answer now is he does have enough space to do this. He probably won't even kill the Ravens with the Mutas. He's just going to go right for the counterattack. There's a huge group of Lings as well. This is exactly how ByuL dismantled INnoVation's pushing, stopping his reinforcements. It looks like they're scouted already, so he's going to chase down this mid-back, but catching reinforcements, going for this run-by harassment was really what won ByuL game number 1, and he wants to win game number 2 with the same strat.
The Widow Mines are not burrowing.
They're not.
And he's not even going to pick them up. He's actually going to try to burrow them, but that's too late. That's a lot of damage, but INnoVation coming on in might be able to kill that 4th base.
He's microing over here, so wasn't paying attention back at home. Oh, the Bane hits here on the Widow Mines. Good split afterwards, but that was so huge. Now the AoE is missing for INnoVation, and this attack at the natural isn't over yet.
Still getting damaged, 20 SCVs. And that was a lot of Lings, but he just had the front door open and ByuL finding another counterattack path. And really just out-multitasking INnoVation too. You know, he's always winning in all the trades, whether it's at his base or at INnoVation's base. And INnoVation really having trouble microing his units while defending in his main against the harass.
The 4th base has been up for a long time. INnoVation wants to smash it here. He has the lead in army, but if he has to keep turning around, it won't matter.
Finally, he moves out, and the Mutas come in.
And he's just got so many Banelings to delay this, but now he doesn't have them. This Banshee even adding some extra DPS into this mix. Does ByuL have enough? The splits are good. I don't think he does. He has 4 Banelings right now. One Zergling. I think he might just roll over and die to the attack. The Mutas kill this base, but INnoVation's attack is going to continue. He has 32 Marines. There's only 4 Banes. He's trying to desperately morph in more.
Look at the army supply right now, guys. I mean, a lot of that is in the Mutas that can't fight straight up against these Marines and Widow Mines. So they're just going to go for more attacking over at INnoVation's base while he desperately gets those Banelings and Lings out of his 3 bases.
He's basically just trying to hold on here.
Good targeting there from INnoVation on the Banes.
Okay. Just going into this choke point over and over again, targeting the Banes. There's not a lot of Lings. There's no surround, or the Mutas didn't come back either. So he's just gunning them down. It's a firing range for INnoVation as he just targets them down one by one by one. It almost feels like we might end up in a base trade or something like that. Oh, no!
Flying straight into the Widow Mines.
Well, they can regen, though, if they're not dead, and they regen pretty fast. He's even trying to bring this Spore up here. There's not enough Banes, though, for ByuL.
He may have hit that critical mass. More Banes coming forward.
One hit. The Spore is actually really helping out.
Really is, but look at that. Just not enough Banelings. He's morphing more on the ramp.
He needs those so desperately right now. The Mutas continue to harass here as they regen health. They can come back eventually, but this may just be too much. GG. We're going to game 3.
He finally loses a game here against someone who's not a Protoss, and INnoVation. Gotta admire his tenacity. Even, you know, the early attack that did not work, and then taking that counter attack harass damage from ByuL, and then finally finding a timing where ByuL, you know, maybe he just had too many units across the map in INnoVation's base, and great job by INnoVation to stay cool and calm under all that pressure and be able to take that game against this guy.
INnoVation with just such good understanding of exactly what type of units were left there for ByuL, knowing that they could even fight in that crazy narrow choke point where Banelings would have a field day. They didn't have enough to come behind the army or surround with Zerglings, because he had almost no Zerglings at all. So we were talking about, you look at supply, it's like, oh, INnoVation's plummeting in supply, what's he going to do? But not in army supply. He has the army that is undefeatable in that situation. Now we're going into Whirlwind, a big map here. This is actually the map choice of ByuL. It was a second choice, so at least he's playing on his own map here. Abyssal Reef was INnoVation's.
Yeah, so we are going to be jumping into game 3, guys. Get out there and tell your friends. We got the 6th series going on between INnoVation and ByuL. Let's jump into map number 3, Whirlwind, right now. Here we go. Down in the bottom right, the blue Terran able to hold on during that game. The Terran Hope here in SSL Premier. It's INnoVation.
His opponent to the top right in purple, it is ByuL. Using harass there. And in game number 1, INnoVation was several times turned around by the harass, which weakened his push, which weakened his position. In this game, he realized ByuL did just not have enough Banelings to defend, nor did he have any Zerglings really at all, and said, well, your mutas are not going to kill all my bases before I kill yours. So if you want to race me like that, you can go. Which almost begs the question, had ByuL sent his Mulus back to fight at the exact timing he had the few banelings, maybe he crushes the army and wins the game, but he never was willing to do that. He wanted to commit only to the harass. It was a pretty long rush distance. We're talking about Abyssal Reef, of course, but still, might have been the way to go. He was confident that he would have enough banelings to eventually hold that and then win the game off of the harass.
And it's kind of funny, you were foreshadowing almost ByuL's feelings, where you were like, oh, do I go for these 12 mutas, these 13 mutas at this time? Maybe it's too much. Maybe I just die. And it wasn't from the attack right at that moment, but it was after the mutas were made and they were across the map that INnoVation eventually realized, well, if you made that many mutas and I'm taking good trades against your banelings right now, maybe I can get on in there and actually take the win. And he hit that very, very thin timing where there were just not enough banelings standing, and you know, ByuL was morphing a bunch of them where he was able to go up there and take the win. But now we're up into Game 3. I was actually expecting ByuL to take the 2-0 after how solid he looked in Game 1, but INnoVation holds on, and this is going to be a much bigger map, one of our 4-player maps in the pool.
Yeah, it's good spawning locations for INnoVation, though, because he loves these timing attacks. This is going to be where he can, it's still going to take a long time to get across, but he can, at the least, pass the path of least resistance, walk across with a marine push. You know, when you've been playing RTS as long as INnoVation, I think his Brood War debut was played 2007 or so. When you've been playing as long as he has, and then have played several years of StarCraft 2 on top of the Brood War experience, you've so... I mean, that's 10 years, right, of RTS experience. You start to get this feeling of, if you have this many mutas, I know exactly what you could possibly mathematically have, and you do not have enough. As long as I micro correctly, even his confidence to go into a choke point where banelings are at their strongest, knowing that there was no buffer, he could retreat back, and he could target down the banes that were in small number, he was going to win that fight. Just good understanding of RTS and the game he's playing. We see Hellions coming out as the opening once more for INnoVation in this third game. This is the map that most considered to be the toughest map to go mech on, so I don't think he's actually going to do a mech follow-up here. Ooh, ByuL does not scout, only sees the barracks. That's kind of telling, though, because it's moved. But he's going to see Banshees, it looks like, to start things off, just like before. Could be a Raven opening, because auto turret harass could actually sometimes be more consistent than the Banshees right now with how the auto turrets operate. He's got enough gas for a Raven. See if he goes straight into that. It is.
He's going to do what worked in Game 2, just might not commit as heavily to the Hellbat push, as we do see no armory just yet. And on a big map like this, Hellions are great because they're very mobile. You can get over there and do a lot of harass damage, and they're going to be decent in your army when you do eventually fight, especially against the Ling Bane-centric play that ByuL has been showing us so far. And we actually see INnoVation going for Cloak, but I think that might just be fake, as there is an Overlord standing, or rather flying, hovering right above that starport.
We've seen a lot of these weird moves. I don't know, I think I was casting this with you, where we saw Alive do this, and he went for the Cloak, and then canceled it, then remade it again, and actually eventually committed to a Banshee. Looks like he is going to commit to it completely. It's kind of weird because it puts a little bit of a question mark into ByuL's mind, but he's like, I think you're really going to go Banshee, but it's not as fast of a Banshee as I thought. But the Overlord confirms, of course, he continues to send it around here. No armory, just a third CC, and this is going to be a better transition here for INnoVation. Not even going to commit to Hellbat, just going to delay the creep with the Hellions as much as he can. That phase is over, and I was just going to go for some later harassment. The weakness of this build is that he doesn't have that hard 2-medevac harass that you would normally have in a more aggressive timing to force ByuL to respond and get those queens out. So he even committed to, is that 6 or 8 Hellions? I think it's just 6, right?
Yeah, just
6 Hellions that aren't doing anything right now. So ByuL has this massive advantage on an even larger map than Abyssal Reef to sit back and macro up. So he's going to feel very comfortable for the next few moments. And INnoVation just didn't get what he wanted. He might be able to force a Hellion run by to work, or clear some more creep with a scan, but beyond that, in terms of big damage, it's going to be a while before INnoVation has that stim and the medevac's out to harass.
You can see if we take a quick look at the upgrades, actually the engineering bays have started a bit late for INnoVation, and ByuL decided to go for his 2 Evo chambers a bit earlier. So ByuL will actually have the advantage when it comes to upgrade timings. Just something small to note.
Yeah, we'll have this nice window, which is going to help him during the attack timing, because INnoVation will likely... Ooh, this is actually a lot of damage.
Oh, he doesn't commit to getting that, though.
But there will likely be a small window of time that ByuL will have when the first push hits before INnoVation has his 1-1, so it could be quite helpful. Auto harass here in the main. I guess I should call it turrets, but they're auto turrets, not regular turrets. And
auto harass coming to you guys in StarCraft 3. You don't even have to control it, it just does it for you. It's automatic.
I knew it, I knew Blizzard was finished when they put multiple building selection, and I was sure they were going to add in remaster, but they didn't do it. I knew they listened to the community.
Just imagine if that actually happened. StarCraft turned into some sort of weird RTS where it's like you don't actually control the units, they just fight for you. There
is a community, it's not too far off of that creates AIs that battle in StarCraft Brood War. There are actually tournaments for this. It's actually a really cool scene. It's pretty niche and not a lot of people know about it, but you can look this up. There's like colleges that actually have AI tournaments, and Google has announced they're going to make an alpha program for StarCraft as well.
Well, that's actually cool.
Yeah, but anyway, StarCraft 3, if it ever happens, probably not going to be automatic, but people will program AIs for it. Big scan here could clear up the creep. He's not going to use it. Too afraid to go off onto that creep with all these links and the queens there. ByuL just had enough time to build up enough units to stave this attack off for now, but INnoVation does have this big timing coming up. This is the window I was talking about where ByuL is going to have the upgrade advantage. INnoVation doesn't hit with his army yet, doesn't swing the hammer, wants to wait for combat shields in his own 1-1 to finish. During this time, Baneling speed's getting closer and closer. Nice around here, but he can pick up.
Look at this time. You could see that right when that Spire finishes, ByuL starts the +1 missile attacks, but he doesn't commit to saving a huge bank to make 12 mutas. Instead, he's focusing more on the ground army, focusing more on his ground upgrades, getting those out first as well. So really taking the ground army a bit seriously, wants to make sure that he's safe first before going into any kind of air tech.
Overlord dead. There's a sudden camera shot we had there. Very jarring.
He got his 1 second of fame, that Overlord.
Yeah. Well, 2-2's also started fast for ByuL. The armory coming up pretty well timed for INnoVation. Just already a little bit of behind in that second cycle. Ooh. This base is hit by a large marine force. He's going to try to draw ByuL in the 2 directions.
He's going to get it.
He will get it, I think.
ByuL's not responding.
He's dealing with the army to the south.
Yeah. There's a big army in the middle of the map that he's just too scared of getting out of position to deal with, but that means a free 4th base snipe for INnoVation. Now, ByuL does have a macro hatch in the main, but that means that these guys have been on equal mining bases for quite a while now.
Ooh, big Widow Mine hits, but also a big clear for ByuL, but I think this is a great trade for INnoVation. Even that one Hellbat shot did a lot of damage to the Lings. Look at the army supply now. INnoVation's still slightly ahead. He has this large force. He's able to do moves like this because ByuL is so cut with these units. He's pushed in 2 different directions. INnoVation is kind of playing tennis with ByuL's army right now, and last time he won, and he's basically on match point in this game. ByuL is just out of stuff.
Oh boy. Yeah, he's really lost a lot of steam here, and now with that big push for the mutas, once again we see maybe he'll be able to deal with the dropships, the medevacs, but can he really deal with the standing Marine army that's on the ground currently?
And notably, INnoVation actually altered the build. He has made an adjustment here in Game 3. He's made missile turrets, so he has more of a defense against the eventual mutas that he will face, especially at his 3rd base. As attack continues, ByuL just is really low on army. INnoVation has the much stronger army. He's about to finally have even upgrades with the 2-2. And there's not a whole lot of creep left here to clear, in fact, as he's killing Banelings as they morph. Just needs a split into these Widow Mines. Look at this Widow Mine spread here. Actually doesn't kill a ton of units. That was pretty decent for ByuL.
Yeah, not the best smiker there. He didn't move back quite far enough. And man, these Ravens all game long have been getting so much damage. Another 7 drones go down.
And it's 3 base versus 3 base. Zerg never wants that to be the case. And now ByuL is just really struggling to have the economy to hold on. He spent so much money on those mutas. He's actually using them to defend this time instead of attacking. Good micro on those so far. But he needs to make sure he gets the money Baneling hits. And without creep, it's going to be tough. He's going to fight off creep even. I don't think this is going to work. Good spreads by INnoVation. And that may just be lights out for ByuL. He needs to desperately remake those. He's making 22 lings right now. Look at how small the baneling count is. INnoVation scans to confirm. He knows this is actually a moment where he might be able to go for the killing blow on this third base.
He wants to. He's going up that ramp. Another really good split off the creep. All the banelings are focused down, and that's going to be a GG. INnoVation takes the 2-1 victory over ByuL. And we'll tie him now up at 5-2 in terms of set wins. Really nicely done here by INnoVation. I think actually because of that win, let me just confirm that for you guys. He might actually be ahead of ByuL. Let me just see. No, it doesn't look like it. I think ByuL is actually going to be one game ahead in terms of set score.
What a great series, though.
Yeah.
INnoVation really having the understanding of how to be aggressive and punish the Mutalist tech. Just constant fighting. And if you're committing that many resources to Mutas, it's like 25 more Banelings they could have had to defend. Go for the Mutas later, harass later on this large map. Even on a huge map like this, where the rush distance was further, INnoVation got the good spawning locations, and he just never let up with the pressure.
Yeah. And again, I mean, that was ByuL's map choice. He wanted to play on Whirlwind, but I mean, in those positions, as you were mentioning, taking fourth base is really hard. And ByuL, he did not have the ability to do so, and the macro from INnoVation was essentially perfect. There wasn't enough counter-attack damage that came enough ByuL in that game. He just didn't have an opportunity to do that. A much bigger map, and INnoVation turns out to be the one that does take the victory. So we will be having an interview now with INnoVation and Kanata.
He has 5 wins, which is the likely progression into playoffs, just like ByuL. So basically, once you get 5 wins, you get an interview. But he did stop ByuL from having that guaranteed spot in the playoffs. Now we're going to hear from him, INnoVation.
김도현 아나운서가 아니고요. 오늘 승리를 거둔 이신영 선수와 인터뷰를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
네,
Hello.
거의 1, 2위 매치에서 한지원 선수를 끌어내다시피 하고 있습니다. 승리하신 소감이 어떠세요?
How do you feel about winning tonight against ByuL?
네.
그냥 오늘 졌구나 생각을 했는데 2, 3세트 좀 운 좋게 이긴 것 같아요.
1세트와 2, 3세트에
It feels like it was almost a lucky victory, because after set 1, he felt like, oh man, that's it for me. I've lost. But he was able to come back.
2, 3세트도 저는 불리했다고 생각을 하는데 3세트 같은 경우는 상대가 좀 센터에서 무리하는 바람에 좀 이긴 것 같고 2세트는 좀
To elaborate, he says he actually felt like he was behind in sets 2 and 3 as well. Although in set 3, it felt like ByuL overreacted and kind of overexerted himself, pushed too far out in the center of the map, and so got very far behind from that move.
저가 잘하면 못 이길 것 같아요.
Speaking about maps, how does he feel about Whirlwinds?
예, 그냥 뮤탈
When you're playing against an opponent like ByuL,
그냥 맹독충으로 막으면 너무 컨트롤 싸움.
when you cross spawn diagonally on Whirlwind, you're kind of screwed. He just says it straight up. So he was very happy with the way the spawns went.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's super important. It really suits his playstyle. It's super hyper-aggressive parade push style that also does very well against ByuL, who's really shown the proclivity to continue to go Mutalist here in SSL and in the GSL.
그냥 팀에 있을 때 내부 리그 같은 거 하면 좀 잘 했어가지고 방식이 그냥 비슷한 거 같아가지고.
Asking INnoVation about his confidence and what he feels about the round-robin format.
해가지고 되게 신기하네요.
It feels like a lot of his confidence comes from his playing on a team, because there's a lot of inner tournaments that happen within the team, and you get a lot of practice in these round-robin formats from those types of tournaments.
근데 또 다른 선수들이 더 잘할 수도 있고 5승 2패가 3명이기 때문에 다른 선수가 2승을 하고 이신영 선수가 1패를 했을 때
Asking INnoVation, where does he predict he's going to finish this season?
유진이가 좀 기세가 안 좋으니까 유진이는 이긴다고 하고 대엽이 형만 이기면 될 것 같네요.
알겠습니다.
Out of the 2 remaining opponents he feels like he'll easily beat SOS as he's struggling.
네, 알겠습니다. 오늘의 승자
But
이신영 선수는
if I can take out stats, in my last match, I should be able to take first place in the regular season here in SSL Premier.
What he's looking for Our next matchup of the evening, of course, will be Stats, defending GSL champion, against a live finalist of the GSL Super Tournament. We're going to take a little bit of a longer break, though, guys, before we get into this. See you afterwards here for the SSL premiere.